Kentucky versus Old Miss, and this game's going to be fun. Now, initially, Steve, when I look at this game, I saw the odds, and Old Miss is favored by 6.5. Over unders in the mid 50s somewhere. Both these teams are high scoring offenses, but right off the bat, I'm a little shocked that Kentucky is the underdog. And the reason I think that is we've seen Kentucky play Florida. We saw that football game. Florida is probably the toughest competitor that Kentucky's seen so far. But who have we seen Old Miss play? They had a tough game against Tulsa last week. They just squeaked by with a win. I think they only won by 7 or 8, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the for Big Blue, you got one of the best quarterbacks in the land. Will Levis is one. I mean, if not the best, he is one of the best. We are definitely going to be seeing him play on Sundays. What a fantastic football player! I'm excited for this one. If you haven't noticed, I'm leaning a little bit towards Kentucky in this one. I don't know if it's enough to take Old Miss on the money line or anything like that. I think Kentucky wins this game. They're getting 6.5 points as well, so that's definitely where I'm leaning towards in a bet. Where do you feel on this game? I'm excited for this one though.
Oh, I am too, and again, like you said, Levis has been unbelievable, and he's probably the most typical NFL quarterback profile. I mean, I'm really big on Frank Harris. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there that are going to gain a lot of attention throughout the year, but he profiles as as a step back in the pocket thrower. He can still run the ball. Don't get me wrong. It's not like he's immobile, but he profiles as a pro quarterback. But the thing that really is most important to Kentucky is that their star running back Chris Rodriguez is back off of suspension. He ran for over 1,300 yards last year, 9 touchdowns. Kentucky's rushing offense I don't think it's at the bottom, but it's pretty close to the bottom. In the FBS. If he comes in and can contribute with anything in this game, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to break out for 200 yards or whatever, but if he can prove that he is game ready, that's just going to open up the field for Levis to pick Ole Miss apart. Ole Miss has had some struggles, on defense. They Ole Miss is going to have to control the ball in order to be able to stay in it. I'm really shocked at this line too. I think a lot of it is SEC teams at home. I think that really dictates the line in the 90% of the time, unless you have like a Alabama Vanderbilt kind of a situation where there's a lot of diversity there. But no,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm all over Kentucky. I can't see a bet that I would make that I would take Ole Miss in. That's how confident I am in Kentucky in this game.
I'm really actually quite interested in how this home field or the attendance is going to look like. It's an 11 a.m. Central Time start for this one. We know that there's been some attendance issues of the beginning of the game and the beginning of the third quarter with Old Miss lately because of it being a party school. I know we were actually just reading an article and talking about it earlier this week about how
Mhm.
Lane Kiffin feels about the fans about they're not really showing up and they're too busy partying in the Grove. I'm interested to see if that 11 a.m. start time and the fact that we've had some weather across the United States and especially in the Southeast, if that's going to make an impact. We'll see if that's going to hurt them whatsoever. I think obviously you're right. That could be a big play. SEC being at home might be why the spread is. Yeah. But looking at Kentucky, they're only averaging 81 yards per game on the ground. Bringing Rodriguez back, regardless, is going to be huge. We already see them as a top 10 team in the country. Now, I know that's
Yes.
a little controversial. I don't know if I really truly feel they're a top 10 team yet. If they win this football game, then we can have another discussion. Maybe that might come into our overreaction conversations on Monday. But um, if they can get that run game going, this is a team that's going to be battling for that third spot in the SEC, and that's nothing to bat an eye about. That's a very impressive, an impressive thing to have on your resume this year.
Y- You know, I see. I'm the opposite. I've been high on Kentucky all year. They have shown me that they have earned that top 10 slot. The fact that they did not have Rodriguez and they haven't been able to generate any kind of a rushing attack really, yet still have been able to put up points. They've beaten the teams they've needed to beat. Um, there's the two colossals in the SEC of Alabama and Georgia, but still, I mean, Kentucky. It would not surprise me if somehow Kentucky could play their way into having three teams from the SEC in the college playoff. That's how high I am on them. I think defensively, a lot of people overlook their defense. They're very physical. They're an intimidating defense that catches the eyes of voters as you go down throughout the season. I think now it's still kind of, well, it's a cute story, Kentucky. That's great. It's somebody other than Alabama or Georgia to talk about, but Kentucky's for real, and I think they're going to really take the hammer down on Ole Miss on this one and to prove their point that like we do belong in this conversation.
All right. So as you can hear, we both really are taking Kentucky here. They're 6.5 point underdogs. So we're taking the points on this one over under 54.5. With this one, I think, especially with the run game of Kentucky, that was one of the biggest concerns. I'm going to slam the over if I was going to play that one. I think I would just play the money line, or I'm sorry, just the spread on this one, though. If I was actually playing it, which I will actually, once this show's over, I'll put my bets in. I'm going to play Kentucky plus 6.5. I'm going to leave the over under alone. But if I was going to give a recommendation, I would hit the over.
I might go with the under only because I think Ole Miss is going to try to control the clock. But when plays have to be made, when the big run has to be made by Rodriguez, when Levis has to make the big pass, it's going to happen. And Kentucky's just going to keep. Maybe they might toy with Ole Miss early. And just one thing about Lane Kiffin and the attendance thing. This is a college football game, not a pro football game. Okay. If the students want to go out and have a party out in the Grove or tailgate or whatever it is, that's part of the college experience.
I
So
agree.
Lane Kiffin needs to shut up. He just needs to shut up. Okay. You've got plenty of boosters buying tickets, and you're just looking for reasons as to why you're going to lose this game at home. So just shut up.
It's a party. Yeah, it's part of the college experience.
Yes.
Not only if you're a college student as well. I mean, your alumni, your boosters, they want to enjoy the growth. You're seeing that more and more with colleges, even small colleges, even Old Dominion. The games that I go to, they have Kaufman Mall open, and they have tailgating and cash bars and things. Now, it's not. I'm sure it's not anything crazy like an SEC game, but it's growing that part of the experience. It wants to be a full thing when it comes to sports, and I don't blame them one bit whatsoever. It brings in more audience, not somebody who's just there for the game. Somebody's there to have a good time and enjoy their Saturday and get that weekend entertainment in. So I'm all for it. I agree. I think Lane Kiffin, obviously, he has a job to do to make sure that his team is prepared and ready. He wants the most support they can possibly get. They're going to get that, especially if they keep winning. But don't be shocked if they look at the camera and they pan it out at the beginning of the game during the opening kickoff and the seats don't look that filled, or after halftime, the exact same thing. It's a slow. They'll probably have a slow get back to their seats between the halves in this one.